Okay, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to pop the hood on a real digital behemoth, the Irctc, which is India's absolutely massive railway ticketing website. Now, we're not talking about train timetables here. We're talking about the incredible tech machine that has to work perfectly for millions and millions of people every single day.
And just to get a sense of the scale we're dealing with, just look at this number. Over 1.3 million tickets are booked on this platform every single day. That's not just a lot of sales. It's a constant, massive stress test on the system, and honestly, an unbelievable engineering challenge.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about the sheer size of this thing. Then, we'll look at the modern foundation it's built on. We'll dig into how it stays so fast and how it defends itself. Then, we'll see what's powering the business side of things and wrap it all up with a really important trade-off that's right at the heart of its design.
Let's start by getting one thing straight. The Irctc platform, it's not just some websites you buy stuff from. For a country like India, which relies so heavily on its railways, this is a critical piece of national infrastructure. It just happens to be online.
So how in the world do you build a digital fortress of this size? Well, it all starts with the foundation. Let's peel back that first layer and take a look at the core tech choices that everything else depends on. Now, what's really fascinating here is the story the stack tells. You see, technologies like Angular and TypeScript, they're not chosen by accident. They force a really structured, disciplined way of writing code. For a platform this important, that's not just a nice-to-have, it's a must-have. It means the system is built to last, to be maintained and scaled for years, not just for a quick product launch.
And here is a super smart, strategic move. It's built as a progressive web app, or PWA. In a mobile-first country like India, this is just brilliant. They're giving users a smooth, fast, app-like experience right there in the browser. No App Store download required.
So, just so we're all on the same page, a PWA is basically a website on steroids. You can save it to your home screen, it loads incredibly fast, and it can even have some features that work when you're offline. It's really the best of both worlds, the web and native apps combined.
Okay, having a great foundation is one thing, but making it feel lightning fast for over 1 million people spread all across a massive country? Well, that's the next layer we need to dig into, performance.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem. How do you make sure that someone booking a ticket way out in a small town gets the same snappy, responsive experience as someone in a big city with super fast internet?
Well, they tackle this with a 1-2 punch. First up, they use content delivery networks, or CDNs. Think of a CDN like a network of mini warehouses for the website's data. A company like Akamai places copies of the site on servers all over India. This means the data has a much shorter trip to get to your phone, which makes a huge difference in load times. But the second part, that's where things get really clever.
They use something called Real User Monitoring, or RUM. Here's the difference. A basic speed test is like testing a car's top speed on a perfect, empty track. RUM, on the other hand, is like putting a tiny sensor in every single car out there on the actual, messy, real-world roads. It tells Irctc exactly how the site is performing for real people, giving them a constant pulse on the true user experience.
Now you know what happens when you have that much traffic, right? You get a giant target painted on your back. So let's move to the next layer and see how this digital fortress actually defends itself. High traffic always attracts unwanted attention. And the biggest threat here isn't necessarily one person trying to hack in. It's automated bots. I mean, think about it. A site selling tickets that are in high demand is a goldmine for scalper bots trying to scoop up all the seats the second they go on sale.
So, to fight this, a normal firewall just won't cut it. They use a specialized shield, Akamai's AI-powered bot manager. This thing is smart. Instead of just blocking bad guys it already knows, it analyzes behavior in real time. It's looking at how a mouse moves, how fast someone types, all these little clues to figure out if you're a real person or a sneaky bot, and it stops them in their tracks.
But wait a second, did you catch that? Akamai for the CDN to make it fast, and Akamai again for the bot manager to keep it safe. Relying this heavily on one single company for two supercritical jobs? That's a big decision. It probably makes things work together really smoothly, but it also means they're really dependent on them.
All right, so the site is fast and it's secure, but running all this high-tech infrastructure is definitely not cheap. So where does the money come from? Let's peel back one more layer and look at the tech that powers the business itself.
And this tells you everything you need to know.
We're seeing tools like Google Publisher Tag and DoubleClick. This isn't just about sticking a few banner ads on a page. No, this is the heavy machinery of programmatic advertising, a totally automated system that sells ad space in the blink of an eye. It shows they have a very serious, very sophisticated plan to make money from all that traffic.
So with all these different scripts running for ads, for analytics, for all sorts of tools, how do you keep it from turning into total chaos and slowing the whole site down? That's where Google Tag Manager comes in. The best way to think about it is like an old-school telephone switchboard operator for code. It neatly plugs in all these third-party scripts, making sure they load properly and don't mess with the most important thing, booking a ticket.
And their strategy doesn't stop once you've left the website. Nope, they use tools like Irctc for web push notifications. This lets them send you little alerts and messages right to your browser, trying to tempt you to come back and re-engage with the site.
So, when you put all these pieces together, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. What's the key lesson we can take away from looking at this whole technological blueprint?
The big takeaway is this. At the end of the day, running a major website at this kind of scale, it's an integration game. Yeah, you need to write good code, of course, but your success really hinges on how well you can choose, combine, and manage a whole bunch of specialized services from other companies.
And this slide really puts that whole ecosystem into perspective. You've got Google providing the foundational building blocks and the business tools. You've got Akamai playing two roles at once, as both the gas pedal and the shield. And then you have these other specialized players for monitoring and for bringing users back. It's not one giant piece of software. It's a carefully assembled mosaic of different partners.
Which leads us to our final thought, and it's a bit of a provocative one. When your entire operation depends so much on this web of outside companies, from the very code it's built on to the security that protects it, how much of the day-to-day operation is truly under your own direct control? It's an incredibly powerful way to build, but it also creates a kind of hidden fragility, a system built on dependency. Definitely something to think about.